Hey there, everyone. How you doing? Jeff C here. It is Saturday, January the 31st. Super Bowl weekend. Yes, we are here. And, yeah, well, wouldn't you know it, there's another outbreak happening. There always is. I mean, it's they got to keep it in your mind, right? Whether it's the avian flu H1N1 or Ebola. They're programming people with all these phony fake shows, these bullshit outbreaks that they're having. Now, the latest one, of course, dealing with measles, right? And here off of NBC News, Disney's measles outbreak came from overseas. The CDC, the trustworthy CDC. Of course, you trust the CDC. They would never lie to you. They never lied once about Nancy Wright Ebola or Dr. Kent Brantley with his super plasma, or with Nina Pham, or should I go on, Thomas Sarah Duncan? It's all a phony fake show. The entire fucking thing is bullshit. So the Centers of Disease Control are at the root of all this, so anything that comes out of them is 100% bullshit, period. They lie to you every single stinking day. What makes you think they're not lying about all this measles stuff? Now I'm going to show you how they're programming people. What they want to do is get you vaccinated. They want your children vaccinated. They want you lining up. They want you to have vaccinations constantly in your mind. They want you to think that vaccinations will save you from anything, including the Loch Ness Monster. You're under a huge threat, okay? So here, an outbreak of measles that started at California's Disneyland probably came from overseas. Probably Thomas Eric Duncan and the green shirts brought it over. Carried either by a foreign tourist or by an American coming back with the virus, a top health official said. A top health official? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What kind of fucking reporting is this? Why does the corporate media get to report like this? Why didn't you just say Santa Claus or the Loch Ness Monster? I mean, why does it have to be a top health official? You don't give us a name, you don't give us anything, right? But this is how they do it. The virus has now infected 94 people in 8 states, and 67 can clearly be linked to Disneyland, California, because measles is so contagious, more cases can be expected. Now, of course, Disney, of all places, Disney. All right. Now, do I need to tell you how evil Disney is? Do I really need to tell you how evil Disney is? Disney is one of the most evil corporations in the history of the fucking world. A bunch of fucking sick pedophiles running Disney. 666 Disney. Ask about the Illuminati Disney. They put all this subliminal stuff in their shows. Just to get your kids programmed, right, for the New World Order. Exactly. That's what it's all about, right? And they put these symbols in all their movies, and they love to sneak them in, especially their owls and stuff like that. Disney is purely evil, all right? That's not even debatable. So if it's coming from Disney, you know the fix is on, right? So here off Time Magazine, White House urges measles vaccinations as number infected passes 100. So the White House now is saying we need mass vaccinations right across the country, no doubt. And what this is it's all about programming you with this term. You're supposed to hear this term and say, well, get the kids in the car. We're going to get vaccinated, all right? What's the latest outbreak? Whatever the latest outbreak is, the swine flu, right? The H1N1, the SARS, now Ebola, now it's measles. Every time they're doing this, and they're trying to urge you to get your family vaccinated. And that's why you have complete psychopaths like Jake Tapper on CNN say, get the kids, go get vaccinated right now, get vaccinated. You have they interview the people from the CDC who say, get vaccinated. It's the most important thing. So they really, outbreak is now spread to 14 states. So less than 100 people have it and it's spread to 14 states. Now they're saying, infected more than 100 people. 100 fucking people. Do you know how fucking ridiculous this is? When I was a kid, they would put me in a room with other kids with measles just so I'd get infected. Right? Just so that you get it when you're young, your immune system's able to deal with it, and you let Mother Nature take care of it. But no, now... Now you have to get vaccinated, right? So White House Press Secretary John Earnest said that the President Obama thinks parents should ultimately make their own decision whether or not to vaccinate their children, Reuters reports. But added that the science clearly points to vaccinating. Okay, people should evaluate for themselves with a bias towards good science and towards the advice of our public health professionals. Because we have celebrities and stuff that are coming out and saying, like Rob Schneider and I believe Bill Maher and others, saying that you shouldn't get vaccinated because there's too many terrible side effects for children. And that's a fact. Right? We know what they're doing with these vaccinations, and it ain't nothing good for you, and it ain't nothing good for your kids, and it's nothing good except for the New World Order. All right, they are programming people to get fear, to believe that this outbreak is going to come and get you. And let me give you a perfect example here. Look at this. Look at this piece of fucking garbage from CNN. Perfect mind control. And it's just, the whole thing is as fake as this, whatever you call this computer animations. You can't even use a real plane to tell you how dangerous it is to be on a plane. Watch this fear porn of measles here.
That if you were on a bus or a train or a plane and somebody near you sneezed, and they had the measles virus,
purple tie,
you're likely going to be exposed to it. But some research out of MIT last year suggested it really is a lot worse than that. Imagine if I was seated in this seat right here.
It's not a seat. You're not on an airplane, and you're a fucking actor. You're not even a reporter. You're an actor. That's what you are, and you're here to program people, and they're going to show you how awful it is.
Research said that even if somebody sneezed way back there on the plane, that beyond the immediate area of where they're seated, there can be these invisible clouds of sort of micro droplets that travel a very long distance despite
here they come. They're coming for you.
And those micro droplets can infect me.
Yes.
They can land on surfaces, and I can touch them.
There they come.
They can infect
there
me.
they come. They're getting you. You're infected.
If I have not been vaccinated, or if it is a circumstance where I have not had measles before, I have a 90% chance.
90%.
As you mentioned, a 90% chance of getting infected.
90%. Now look at this. Now remember this. Remember this. There's 100 people in the United States that are infected. And look at what they've done with this fucking map here. Right? And they're going to tell you how awful it is that people, it's always the states, you know, states where, you know, heavily sort of religious people don't believe in this stuff and they're smart not to, don't trust the New World Order. And guess what? It's those states that are the ones that are in trouble.
More people backing away for voluntary reasons from having their children inoculated. And this is the result. Every place that's darker on there is where people have backed off from doing it. They back down some. And guess what? Two of the darkest places that we're talking about here, California,
Arizona.
They had the outbreak at Disneyland, and as you noted moments ago, more cases now. And now we're looking at Arizona, where they're looking at a whole lot of people, where, guess what? People are coming from all over the country right now, Aaron,
that's right.
For the Super Bowl.
For the Super Bowl.
So, Tom, I mean, as people congregate, and they congregate in places like planes, hotels, restaurants,
Wall Street.
How much of a risk do they have of becoming infected? Because you're talking about people who are not vaccinated and that rising risk. But then there's also the understanding that, you know, it doesn't last forever. So if you had it as a kid and you didn't get boosters, which most people don't because everybody was supposed to be getting vaccinated, a lot of people might be vulnerable who don't know it.
Yeah. That's it. You're all going to die.
Some people are vulnerable who don't know it, but that's going to be a smaller set. The real issue is the people who just aren't taking any measures against it.
There you go.
Because if enough of them start congregating in a place like Arizona around this event, yeah, they can start passing it among themselves.
There you go.
And look at what the result has been of some of this.
Look at the result. Look at this. Look at this. What is he, in a warehouse now? I mean, it's so fucking insane how crazy they program you with this shit. This is such utter fucking bullshit. It's as real as this set. I mean, it's as real as this crappy computer graphics that CNN shows you and Wall Street bitch there, Aaron, talks about. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I showed this the other day, how they came out and said, you know, it's people that aren't getting vaccinated that are a threat. And, of course, the article that I broke down was off of USA Today, where the author of the article said that people that do not get their kids vaccinated should be put in jail. All right? It's absolutely insane. If you haven't seen that video, please go back and watch it. But let's listen into this prostitute here.
And we basically said, as a nation, that measles had been wiped out in this country. It was gone.
Nope.
And yes, we had some sort of artifacts of cases here for a number of years. But look what has happened in recent years.
Oh, look at that.
Spikes here. Not quite big ones. Signs of something going on again in 13, and then last year.
Wow.
Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that. He's pointing. I mean, what is he pointing at? I mean, is he like a weatherman? Does he have a screen over here that he can see? I mean, it's so fucking
cases.
stupid.
And Aaron, if these numbers keep holding up this year, we'll go higher than that before years.
All right. Woo!
In a country of 11 million people, it's not a pandemic.
No.
But it is a trend line that health officials really don't like seeing.
My word.
We all know
that you, CNN, are fucking 110% fucking propaganda, that you lie through your fucking asses every single stinking day, twice on Sundays. You people are fucking monsters. And no, nobody should ever believe anything, ever, that you ever comes out of anyone's mouth that's ever been on CNN, ever. It's done, folks. Fucking forget about CNN. You think that's news? Now let's talk about the reality of measles here. Inside vaccines here. Measles, the grim reality. This is from 2008, right? And what does the Centers of Disease Control have to say about parents to parents about measles? Before measles immunization was available, nearly everyone in the U.S. got measles. An average of 450 measles-associated deaths were reported each year between 1953 and 1963. Was measles a major health problem? I'm going to make this bigger for my eyes here. Was measles a major health problem between 1953 and 1963? Were parents begging for a vaccine, terrified that their children would die or be permanently damaged by dangerous disease? Well, no. Some here could give their answer to that question, but better still, ask your parents and ask your grandparents what they thought about measles. Find out who in your family was at risk for serious complications or death. The big question, when you see the death rate, is how many deaths occur in relation to the total number of cases. The reported cases with something like measles are always going to be much lower than the total cases. And reported cases will generally be more severe, more likely hospitalized, and more likely have a bad outcome. I had measles when I was 8, but my parents didn't report my case of measles. I never saw a doctor, and no one in my family, including my 2 younger siblings, caught it from me. Here, from the CDC Pink Boy book, is the story here. Before 1963, approximately 500,000 cases and 500 deaths were reported annually, with an epidemic cycles every 2 to 3 years. However, the actual number of cases is estimated at 3 to 4 million annually. More than 50% of persons had measles by the age of, so more than half the population had measles by the age of 6, and more than 90% had measles by the age of 15. The highest incidence was amongst 5 to 9-year-olds, who generally accounted for more than 50. It was just par for the course that people would get measles. It was just something your body dealt with. So now, though, of course, so what about that death rate? I'm going to take the 3 million cases and the actual 450 annual deaths. 1 death for every 6,500 cases approximately. This is why parents try to expose their children to measles rather than being terrified that they might catch measles. Everyone knew that measles is more dangerous in adults, so you wanted to be sure that your kid had them during childhood. Back in CDC's information for parents called "What Would Happen If We Start Vaccinating?" In the U.S., so this is the CDC's, okay? The total lying bullshit CDC. In the USA, or the US, up to 20% of persons with measles are hospitalized. 17% of measles cases have 1 or more complications such as infections, pneumonia, or diarrhea. Pneumonia is present in about 6% of cases and accounts for most of the measles deaths. Although less common, some persons with measles develop encephalitis, or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that. Encephalitis. Okay, encephalitis. There you go. Swelling in the lining of the brain, resulting in brain damage. The paragraph, though, is not very clear because there's no dates included. Obviously, these stats don't apply to the period between 1953 and 1963, when measles ran rampant and millions of children had it every year. If they did, they would be able to show pictures of wards filling up with measles victims. Okay, so they don't have any of those. 20% of 3 million would be 600,000 children per year being hospitalized as a result of measles. Yep, we would have heard about that. All right, 600,000. So the CDC is flat out lying about this, okay? And as they always do.